we appreciate having you guys out. Real quick, I just want to tell everybody a little bit about SoundCheck. We are a not-for-profit organization, and we actually started back in 2013. So we started with a very simple basic. And usually was, anybody know what a SoundCheck is?
Thank you, Joel, in the group chat. When you check sound, yeah, pretty obvious, pretty obvious, brother. But we appreciate it. Yeah, so exactly. So the idea of a sound check, as you know, is we get our levels right. You know, if you're a guitar player like me, you got to make sure you tune up. You know, make sure everything's sounding right, all that good stuff. So what we actually did is we took that idea of sound checking, of preparation, and we've taken that and we've created a model in which we teach life skills. So not only preparing for the stage of music, right, and performances and all of that good stuff, but actually using that as an approach and a model, whether it's on the job, whether it's in school prep, whether it's building, you know, community, etc. So the opportunity of taking that model is what we've done over the past several years. So in 2013 is when we started. In 2018, thanks to the support of an amazing sponsor, the Ontario Trillium Foundation, we were able to open the very first of its kind musician community center. And that's actually where this entire broadcast is being filmed from today. So without any further ado, we've got all of our performers are in the house. I want to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves, say hello to you guys. So first of all, I think I'm going to go over to, I think we're going to start with our MD for today, Germaine. Let me see. Are y'all seeing Germaine on our screen here? Are y'all hearing? So Germaine, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Can everybody hear me? Everybody hear me loud and clear? Okay, I saw it. Okay, all right. Cool.
Awesome. That's what's up. It's working. So Jermaine's in the house. Germaine, what's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. Mans are out here, you know, just trying to make it do what it do, you know. Oh. It is what it is.
Okay. It's good to have you, Germaine. Switching over, so on drums, we have Adrian's in the house. Adrian, what's going on, brother?
Hi.
Adrian, say hello to everybody. What's going on?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I think you're coming through. Everybody's saying yes in the group chat, so that's awesome.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Next, we're going over to, we've got actually two wonderful players here. We have Athol and we have Jozef in the house. How are you guys doing?
We're good. I'm good. How you doing, Joe?
I'm not bad either.
Okay, awesome. We got Jozef and Athol in the house, and last but certainly not least, we've got our very own Steve Henry's in the house. Steve, what's up? Oh, okay. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Steve, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I have no complaints, man.
Awesome. It's good to hear you and good to see you, and you're in the house. And so, you know, without any further ado, I think the band has a little something prepared just to kind of start off our session today. So I'll let them sort of get situated and get ready to do what they do. But really today is all about learning. It's really an opportunity for you to have your questions answered. The topic of today, of course, is learning how to play in a band. And so we got an amazing band that's here today, and we're really looking forward to hearing them. So I'm gonna just check with my team here, make sure everything's good. I'm getting thumbs up. Okay, awesome. I'm getting thumbs up. All right. So without any further ado, we are gonna get this show started. So hang on, let me just get over to the right screen here. All right, and without any further ado, we'll get started. Woo-wee. All right, guys. Yo. Are you guys hearing this? How's it sounding on your end? I know what I just heard in the room, but how's it sounding on your guys' end? I'm seeing thumbs up. Okay, awesome. Hey, y'all, this is what it's all about. It's really good to see each and every person in the house today. I think I lost my camera again, but we'll get this right. You know what? We're gonna go over to our MD, who's gonna kind of introduce himself. So Germaine, one of the first questions that we have for you, is really this is just a question we're gonna ask all the band members today. So today it's all about learning about playing in a band. So Germaine, you've been playing in a band for some time now, is that right? Mm-hmm. That's right. Tell us a little bit about just your background. Like when did you start playing? Like you're on organ now? Is that what you're playing right now?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. All right. And so let us know. Like talk to us a little bit. Tell us about how'd you get into organ? How long you been playing? Talk to us about that.
I mean, it's only the best instrument in the world when you really think about it. Because C squared times... No, I'm joking. Anyways, in all seriousness, no, I started playing in a band in my living room, actually. Funny story. I was a drummer, and then... they just didn't rate me at church, so I got frustrated.
Really, eh?
No, literally, like I wasn't getting no love. But honestly, it was a God thing because obviously I'm where I'm supposed to be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, started playing at a young age, probably like since I was like maybe 7 or 8. And then I would just like, back in the day we didn't have like MP3 players. So you got your little boom box with the CD, or cassette player, and like literally just sit like rewind, try and suss out the chords and stuff like that. And then from there I evolved, to become a part of the church band where like, I worked with one of the greatest organists in the city, Cordell. Hey, he really helped groom me.
Okay.
And working with the church band as well.
We got Cordell in the house.
So yeah, so from there it kind of just evolved. I listened to just a lot of like I know my experience was a little bit different. Like most people that I knew growing up, they were listening to like Grace Thrillers. My dad, like he was more so on like the American side. I was listening to like Walter Hawkins, Milton Brunson, and that's kind of where my foundation was. But don't let it twisted. Grace Thrillers bumps. It bumps, right? So yeah, so from there I just evolved, and I got to a point where like, man, I really want to play with the more seasoned musicians, and I realized like it wasn't that easy just getting the band. Like you either had to have it, or you didn't have it, right. Now we're a little bit more patient, so it really forces you. It forced me to kind of really just hone in on my craft.
Got you.
By the time I was probably like 15, 16, I was playing for like some big up choirs and stuff like that. And
got you.
The rest is history, man.
That's what's up. No, that's awesome, man. Great story and great seeing you on your journey. We're gonna switch it over right now, actually, to Steve. So Steve, we're gonna actually ask you the same question. So Steve, talk to us. You've been in this game a little bit. Talk to us. How actually. Funny story. I actually know Steve going back some years playing for TC3. That's where we actually met some years ago. You're right. Some good times, man. Yes. So Steve, talk to me, man. Like, how did you get into music? Like, what was that all about? What was your journey?
Funny enough, my journey is similar to Germaine's because I wanted to be a drummer.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
And back in the day, our church, we had one of the better drummers in the city. So our only chance to play was night service.
Okay.
But my brother is a really good drummer, so they would always make him play. And I didn't get a chance to play, and I would just get mad and frustrated. And
Right.
Yeah, so my father had a keyboard in the house, and it was just out of frustration. I would just pluck away at it.
That's what's up.
The rest is history.
So literally by accident almost.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
So, and then my father had a church, and you grow up, you know, you want to play for your father, but I realized to get to a certain level, I had to be around the players.
Got you.
So luckily I got around Germaine Stern, one of my greatest influences in my musical journey, for sure. You know, he would just took me under his wing, and I was just around him. It's not like he would say, "This is how you play." He would just tell me what not to do.
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, and you know, and I don't know. I'm here now. God is good. I get to play with these guys, and I'm grateful.
Man.
Yeah, I'm grateful.
Man, Steve, thank you so much for that. That's awesome. It's great hearing you.
Yeah, man, no worries.
We're actually going to switch right over to, we have Athol, and we have, actually, we'll go Athol, and then we'll go Jozef. So Athol, talk to us. I mean, Athol, we go back a little bit, huh? It's good to see you in this. It's been a couple of years, but it's good, man. How you been?
It's been a long time, sir. Yeah. God has been good. Kept us.
For real.
Yeah, man. I remember when you just first started.
Yeah.
So getting to play with you back then and seeing what you're doing now, I applaud you. Awesome job. It's great work you're doing.
Thank you, sir. Talk to us though, Athol. How did you did you start on bass? Weren't you a keys player? I have that right? Or?
So I can't say that I started young, super young on really any instrument.
Okay.
But I started off because there was a piano at home.
Right.
My dad played the piano. My sister played the piano.
Oh, I didn't know.
My older sister, and that's how I started with. And then so I just kind of got into it. I'm not going to say my passion wasn't as a piano player, but I always loved the bass. But I was playing piano, and you know, guys know that once you start playing pianos and people see that and you have skill, there's a need for keyboards.
Right.
So
For real.
you're going to play piano, and that's just going to trump everything.
For real.
And that's what happened with me. And growing up my whole life, though, there has always been phenomenal bass players from before I could even play. Then I started playing keys, as I said, worked up to keys, and I really only started bass when I was in my teenage years.
Okay, wow.
And I was actually taught by my cousin, who was my major influence.
Wow, okay.
Wayne Edwards.
Okay.
He was the one that I looked at him, and he was just doing all these crazy things.
Right.
And he pushed me not just bass, but on piano to really expand and not just play in the box, but really taught me to open up. You know, we'd jam, say. He gave us solos. I don't know how to solo or anything. Right. So that's kind of how it started. And then eventually I kind of got a couple chances when maybe he couldn't be somewhere. I just kind of messed around a little bit. Him and this young kid were the ones that showed me and really inspired me. And then later on, going to the church I'm at now, I started getting more opportunities to really play the bass, and it just blossomed from there.
Right.
And I was still playing keys all this time, still playing keys, but still getting opportunities to do bass. Started getting bass gigs.
Okay.
Started working with Germaine Germaine and I. When he was not starting on organ, but when he was playing organ, I was playing keys, and we actually did stuff together.
Wow. Okay.
Keys and him on organ and me on keys.
Okay.
So he showed me a lot on keyboard too, because we were both growing up together around.
Right.
He ran away with it though, but so it was great growing up, and then all these different guys, with the exception of Joe, I've had an opportunity along my journey as a bass player, to actually even play with all these guys, and it was a crazy journey because there was a lot of ups and downs, and as Steve said, you know, if someone doesn't want to hear you, you're not going to get to play.
That's it. Right.
And there were times I got booted off stuff.
Wow.
What? Just know I got booted off stuff. Keys and bass gigs. What? I got booted off, and they called somebody else because they didn't want me to play.
Okay. Wow.
But I tell you, the things turn around when you keep working and pushing at it. Right.
Got you.
That's where I am now. But you know, God's been good.
Awesome. Joe, what's up? Talk to us, man.
I mean,
come on, Joe.
I don't know. It's when did I start playing? Well, I guess music was like always in my house.
Okay.
So my dad's a professor at like a tiny little university.
Okay, nice.
So we were always banging on pots and pans.
Hey,
whatever was playing in the house. A lot of like, there was a Jimmy Smith album that was played
Okay.
nonstop.
Okay, yeah,
Nonstop. But other than that, I didn't start playing guitar, I think, until I was 12 or 13.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and then
okay.
it was like classical and rock and
Yup.
some blues and that kind of stuff. And then kind of got into like R&B and gospel. Oh boy. I think that wasn't until like I was in high school.
Okay, right.
So I was probably
right,
like
right,
17, 18.
Okay. Yeah.
27 now.
Okay. Okay.
But basically, like as soon as I heard, it was a Ricky Dillard album. I can't remember what it's called. It's got a red background. It's from like 20. No.
Church one?
Shoot. Which one is it? I can't remember what it's called.
Probably the red and black one.
It's it opens up with God is Great and then goes to, I think, Destined for...
Oh, Ricky Dillard.
Yeah, Ricky Dillard and New G.
Greatness.
Destined for Greatness?
Destined for Greatness.
Yeah, okay, that's the one.
There we go. There we go. We got it.
Anyways, that was that was the album where I went, oh, I need to figure this out. I think Sharky's on that record. I don't know. But it's Derek Hearn's like it's monstrous. So I think I heard that album in high school and went down the rabbit hole, and it's kind of been going nonstop ever since.
Wow. No, that's
so
great.
I haven't played long in this kind of setting, and feel like I have no place being here right now, for the record. But it's fun.
Hey, Joseph, I'm a huge fan, by the way. I want you to know.
The fun thing for me is like you just don't stop learning.
Yeah.
So I could go to the day I die, and it's not going to stop. And it's been the most fun and challenging thing I've probably ever done.
Awesome.
But yeah.
No, it's great to have you, Joe. That's awesome.
Thanks for having me.
I think last but not least, we are going to go over to Adrian. Adrian, how you doing? We're gonna have some bloopers for the.
Can you guys hear me? I'm good. I'm okay. Yeah.
Awesome. So same question, Adrian. How did you get into music? Like, when did you start? Like, what was your journey?
I would say I'm probably like the only one here that actually started on the instrument they were supposed to be on.
Okay.
Yeah. Like it wasn't even a back and forth type of thing.
Right.
My mom told me the story, but when I was like, I think it was 2.
Okay.
I'd play with Barbie dolls and my dad would get upset. Like, yo, what is this guy doing? Like, you know, my background's Jamaican/Trini, so Jamaicans don't play that. But I'd pick up the Barbie doll, rip off the Barbie legs, and use the Barbie legs as drumsticks.
Really? Okay.
And as Germaine said earlier, Grace Thrillers would be playing because it's the Caribbean background.
Yep.
At 2, they were saying I had a solid beat, a solid
really
rhythm, and I'd be
okay
following with it. So
okay,
that's just how I started, and it's
wow,
just never stopped.
That's what's up. Awesome. So everyone, you've got a chance to hear from our band, and they've got some more stuff to play for us, but. I think we also want to just get a sense of who we have online right now. So, if we can actually I want to know, how many drummers do we have here? How many keyboard players? Like, if you don't mind, actually, you guys can unmute your mic. We want this to be a dialogue. We want this to be a conversation. It's not just me talking. Talk to us, people. How long you all been playing? Who do we got online? What's your story, guys? We want to hear a couple folks, and then we'll move on. Are folks sharing us? Anybody? Any brave souls want to introduce themselves? Talk about yourself. How long you been playing? What instrument you play? It doesn't matter if you've been playing for 2 days. Like literally. Like it's all right. We got to start somewhere. In fact, you heard the stories. Each and every person that you heard playing on tonight, they started somewhere, whether it was at 2, 4, 5, 6, 13, 14, 15. Everyone had to start somewhere. So no shame in telling your story. We really want to build this. DeAndre, you got your hand up. What's up? Talk to us.
Yeah. So I'm DeAndre. I play drums.
Okay. Hey, DeAndre. Yeah. We're hearing you. How long, DeAndre? How long you been playing for, brother?
It's kind of like Adrian. My mom told me that I'll be playing drums, and that was kind of just what I played from when I started, and still playing it now.
Okay, awesome, man. No, that's great. Thanks for sharing, man. Appreciate you. Anyone else? Shamar, you're in the room. What? Come on, Shamar. Talk to us, family. What's up? This guy's here on mute on us. What's up?
Well, I play bass. I've been playing for 8 years now. Like my parents just put me, like my start, like when I was 9, my parents put me in lessons because like they wanted me to start there with jazz and wanted me to be able to play all types of music.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's up. No, thanks for sharing. We got time for 2 more, and then we're gonna move on. Anyone else?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Joel, I got you now.
Okay, cool.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay. So my dad started keyboards and I just evolved around him. So I started I'm not sure age, but then it was a very young age, like up to 3, 4, something like that.
Okay, wow. So, Joel, you're pretty young, fam. Like, what are you saying? You've been playing for 10 years already? Is that what you're saying? Is that what's up?
Nah, but I'm 13. I'm turning 14 in September, though.
Okay, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. Awesome. So thank you for that. Anyone else? One more. We got time for one more, real quick.
Yeah, I was just gonna. Can you hear me?
Yeah. K-Vox, what's up?
Yeah. Hey, man. I'm mainly a singer, but
Okay, cool.
I picked up keys when I was about 7, and I just picked up the bass like 8 months ago. So, trying to figure out everything.
Nice.
Music, yeah.
No, that's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. And again, hopefully everyone has heard. Thanks you all for sharing, those of you on Zoom. But really the message is it doesn't matter where you start. We all have to start somewhere. And so before we move on to another song, one of the things we asked in preparation of this session was we really wanted to know what kind of questions you all had for some of really our panel and our musicians that are here. And so we're going to try and get a couple of these questions in, and then we're going to get ready for their second performance afterwards. But real quick, and actually we'll have the whole band actually answer this, because this is a really important question. How do you, and I'm going to open this up to the band, how do you approach playing in a band? So talk about your instrument, talk about how, first of all, what is unique about your approach in terms of playing that instrument with others, and talk about how you know and find your lane. And we got a lot of experience in the room, so I really want to hear. You know what? We're actually going to start off. Germaine, why don't you start things off for us again?
I was trying to train out the order, you know. It's simple.
So you're talking from an organ perspective, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, both musician and organ. Because I think someone can be a guitar player or a bass player, but there's a difference between just being that and a musician. I think a musician specifically, you hear everything,
right?
You consider everything. So
right.
As much as I play organ, I understand that, like, if the bass player is playing his bass, why am I playing my bass line on my left, type of thing. So I just look at it as stay in your lane.
Right.
Understanding what your role is, so that you're not. It's almost like the highway. I get the weirdest analogies, but it's almost like you're on the highway.
Right.
If you know that you're supposed to be in the right lane, stay there.
Right.
Stop trying to come over.
Right.
The guitar's trying to solo and you're trying to go, oh yeah, cut it out. Right. So simply just no, because I know guys I'm sure the rest of them can attest to this. I know guys that will do that. Like, I'll be soloing and you're trying to, like, no. Or even worse, I'll be playing top music, bass player trying to play with me. Like,
right.
It's the worst. But no, simply it's just understanding what your role is, and sticking with that. So that you're not I guess meshing or clashing with one of your other musicians. So
right.
That's just how I look at it. Stay in your lane.
And talk about organ though, because no.
Yo,
I have to.
Just got passionate.
No. You have to talk to us about organ, because there's something unique about organ that's different, right? Like, I've heard you play organ, and I've also heard you play keys, and the way you approach playing organ is actually very different. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Organ is amazing. The approach on organ is just organ itself. Like, you could literally go without a whole band. Not to say that
Hey,
their roles.
give us something. Give us something.
I mean, you know,
Yeah, man. We got, man. Show,
okay, so for example, I'll break this down. Like organ, like you can literally have the organ by itself, like no drums, no guitar, no bass, or whatever. Because of again, the sound is sustained. You know, you have different frequencies in terms of settings. Where, for example, keyboard, it's literally the same thing, where you can kind of get different sounds.
Right.
So you can also play left hand and right hand chords while playing the bass. So.
Right.
Man, Joel.
Hey,
me, buddy.
hey, man, we got to hear you. Come on.
All right. Let's go. Let's go this. So opposed to me just padding, like. Say, for example, I grew up in church, so you have like certain churchy songs where it's like, even if you don't have a drummer, say, for example, This Is the Day. I was hoping you wouldn't ask me because I don't play organ as often, but it's okay.
Hey,
it's okay.
Sounded.
But yeah, like there's
it sounded
much,
great.
If you notice, especially once I got to the last song, like it was a different sound, right? Because like say in church we have pop music where we oh come on and bless the Lord, He's worthy to be praised, and then once they start to like fill up, oh, and then right. Has so many like.
That's such a dynamic
Bryan
range.
is in here catching spirit. Anyways, but no, there's just such a wide variety of frequencies. Right. Like it's almost like again, you can play chords, but it's almost like you can play drums at the same time.
Right.
Play it right.
Right. Got
so,
you.
Yeah, man.
No,
but organ opposed to keys. I look at keys as the icing on the cake.
Right.
Organ kind of pads. But then when keys now, it's like opposed to me just playing pads, I would probably play like a left hand chord, voice, do like a little voicing in my right hand,
right
thing. And I'm also not playing bass as well.
Right.
So yeah.
So one quick thing, right? Because I noticed when you were playing by yourself, all of a sudden the foot pedals came in and all of that. But obviously, when we were playing the first song that y'all performed.
Yeah.
You weren't approaching the organ in the same way. So talk a little bit about that, and then we'll move on because we want to hear from.
It goes back to what I was saying earlier. Stay in your lane.
Right.
So if I know Athol's playing, that means all I have to worry about again is playing the chords, right? But however, on top of that, now if I have a keyboardist, I don't have to be as busy. Not to say that I will be over the top, but if Steve's there, all I literally have to do is. Right. He might do the right. So I would just pad, and if anything, he would like probably do some voicings or whatever. So it's just a matter of again staying in your lane where Athol's concerned. If he's playing bass, I don't need to play.
Right.
If Steve's playing, I don't need to do certain things.
Right.
Not to say that I take a full step back. But it's just like I'm more mindful, so I don't get in his way, and I don't get in his way.
Got you. No, that's great. That's absolutely great. Thank you so much. We're gonna actually move right over to Adrian, And so, Adrian, I want to ask you the same question. So, as the drummer, right? You guys are the heartbeat of the sound. You guys are the heartbeat of the band. So, talk about how you approach just playing drums in a band context.
To piggyback off of what Germaine said, I completely agree with him. We're like, I think from a musician standpoint, rather than just a drummer. Now, I used to be the young kid who was just like, let me do the most all the time.
Right.
And that's because genuinely I don't really care about humans like that. I'll just do my thing.
Right.
But one specific situation that actually changed that was my older sister. I was playing for a choir when I was like maybe 15 or 16.
Right.
Called Freedom to Worship. I don't know if not a lot of people like them, but it is what it is. Needless to say, I remember doing a solo at the top of the concert, and I walked off the drums like, yo, I just killed that.
Right.
And my sister looked at me and was just like, the first thing out of her mouth was, who was that good for? And
right.
no one understood where like the one was the downbeat.
Right.
And I was just like, then it just hit me. Like I understood that literally the people who understand what musicians do is like 0.1% of the population. Any concert that I've ever done or whatever not the situation is, people are not there for the music.
Right.
They're there to see the totality of everything. So that day actually changed how I approach playing drums. And as you said, I'm mainly the heartbeat. I'm the one that keeps everybody together with timing, just staying solid.
Right.
All right. Yeah, I'm the one who just stays solid.
Right.
I try my best to keep the same patterns from different parts of the song, from chorus to verse. I try to set everybody up so they know certain parts are coming.
Right.
That's just how I approach it.
Got you. So Adrian, I'm gonna put you on the spot. I'm actually gonna ask you to give us a little bit of a demonstration. So maybe show us kind of how you approach playing at that concert where you were doing way too much. You weren't really in the pocket. You were just kind of doing it just because. And then show us more of a, as you sort of, you mentioned, more of a pocket kind of groove first approach.
So I'll just actually just play a groove.
Sure.
And then from the groove, I will go from less busy to the busiest ever.
Okay. Perfect.
Cover your ears, please. Put your snares on. So I will start with simple. A need to ever play that in a bad setting because, like Germaine said, it gets in everybody's way. When you're playing more simple, simplistic, it gives everyone a chance to breathe. It gives the music a chance to just breathe. There's more space. It allows, whether you're singing with or playing with a live singer, a lead singer, whoever not, it gives them more of a chance to actually hear and enjoy the music.
Right.
Because no one really understands subdivisions the way drummers do.
Right.
And we're the only ones that really understand that. So I approach it as, let me just keep it as simple as possible. And yeah.
Awesome. No, thank you, Adrian. That's great.
Blessings.
All right. So keeping it moving, we are actually going to call on Jozef. Oh, sorry. That's not Jozef. There he is. Jozef. I got to give a shout out to Jozef. He's playing the instrument of champions, the guitar. Jozef, talk to me a little bit about your approach, playing in a band, right? Guitar can do so many different things in so many different contexts. So talk to me about, like, how do you approach even this, playing in a situation like the one that you're in today?
As both Germaine and Adrian said, I think it's kind of just knowing where, like, be aware of your surroundings.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right.
Do it with intention.
Right.
Don't just play notes.
Right.
I mean, that goes. I guess that's kind of a musician thing, not just a guitar thing.
Right.
But guitar specific, I find it really easy for guitar players to play a lot.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
I hear you.
Like,
right.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example.
Yeah.
Like,
please show us a little something. Right.
That's going on wherever, and guitar players go.
Right.
All that stuff.
Right.
But I'd just as soon rather hear like. Like that, you know.
Yeah.
Playing with intention, knowing where you sit, and not just blowing over everything.
Right. Overplaying.
Yeah.
Right.
Being a rhythm and a lead instrument, I think kind of
you got to talk about that because
those lines get blurred sometimes.
Yeah, but talk to us a little bit about that because I don't know how many other guitar players we have in the room. If you're a guitar player, maybe in the group chat, just let us know. But yeah, talk to us a little bit about how do you, because sometimes in a situation do you put your lead hat on, or do you put your rhythm hat on, or do you just approach it as a song in its entirety and decide and choose your spots of how you're going to approach it? I'm curious to know.
For me, that's actually changed in the last I don't know, couple years probably.
Right.
Where I just don't play lead.
Oh, okay, really?
Unless I get the eye.
Okay.
And it's like, do something here.
Right, okay.
And I go, okay, now you've given me the green light to step on the gas a little.
Got you.
But sometimes if the song is calling for it, or the arrangement or whatever it is,
right.
In a rehearsal, maybe I'll push a little bit, and if the MD or producer, whoever, kind of goes, oh yeah, that's cool, let's keep it.
Right.
But not just. I guess I'm always trying to be maybe overly careful.
Right.
But just feel it out, I guess.
Yeah.
Once you kind of go through enough rehearsals and performances, you have an okay idea of when to go for it and when not.
Right. No, that's awesome. Thank you for that amazing explanation. We got Philip Andrew in the group chat. Thanks, Philip. Another instrument player of champions. Philip here plays the guitar. That's great. So we're gonna actually move over to Athol. So Athol, talk to us a little bit about playing, I guess, bass for the sake of our conversation today. I know you played different instruments, but talk to us a little bit about your approach playing bass specifically in a band setting, like the one you're in today, for example.
So everyone's kind of touching on different aspects which are completely critical to playing in a band. One philosophy that I've used is the bigger the band, the less you're allowed to do. And that includes singers as well.
Right. Okay.
So if it's like a 5-piece, 6-piece, and you got singers, there's not a lot of room. You shouldn't think that this is an opportunity to, I'm going to let everybody know that I'm here and I'm going to do my thing. You're probably not going to have that space.
Right.
Because in those situations, once again, it's about the band and even in an orchestra setting.
Right.
Everyone's playing as one.
Right.
When you get to a smaller band, you'll find that there'll be more. You'll find there's more gaps.
Right.
If something is to be done, you don't have to.
Right.
Another important thing to recognize is people don't realize there's something that's called space.
Right.
Where there are times when you not playing something, or maybe you holding out a note instead of maybe doing something,
right,
is more effective than you actually playing.
Got you.
When we're young and we're playing, we're all excited.
Right.
Especially when we're learning stuff.
Yep.
Right? So we just want to try out the latest thing. So
give us a...
So, and here's another thing, too, and I got to just throw this out there. Bass is not just slapping. Like, when you're doing a slopes, I'll get to that after. But, for instance, if we have a song, I'm going to slap this, obviously. But that's what they want to hear. So you can have a groove. simple groove, right?
Right.
Obviously, you know, we can overplay that because
Right.
we all know that we want to try and add doubles.
Right.
You know,
Right,
we're
right,
trying
right.
just to
Right.
go over the top and
Right,
those
right,
kind of
right.
things. And you know what? It's a time and a place for everything at the end of the day for those things, right?
Right,
You're going
right,
to find
right.
that there are times when you're going to have those spaces. Once you've played with a certain, you know, I was telling even Steve earlier, what I like to do is when I'm going into, depending on who I'm playing with, I like to find out who it is I'm playing with.
Right.
Then I go into my archive and figure out, okay, I played with Germaine before.
Right. So you kind
These
of
are the
know.
kind of things that Germaine looks for and likes.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And so my job as a bass player, I personally, I want to make everybody feel good. I
Right.
want the music to feel good.
Right.
If you're ever watching me play bass, if I'm not moving, something's wrong. Because I just like to feel the music.
That's so true.
But it's not just about me feeling it. Because
Yeah.
if I get all carried away doing my thing,
Yeah.
and I'm just,
Right.
why am I not, you know,
Right.
where did the groove go? So
Right.
it's important that we're really trying to make it feel good.
Right.
In whatever lane it is. I'm specifically talking about bass. So if I have someone like Germaine playing, I know that there's certain things, and because
Right.
I played with him for a while, I can anticipate certain progressions that he might do.
Right.
Now, if I come into a situation where I'm playing with Steve, I haven't played with Steve in years,
Right.
right?
You wanna
So
check
now,
in.
when you're playing with people you don't know,
Right.
that's the best time to hold back.
Right.
Figure out, listen to what everybody's doing.
Right.
Once you've assessed what everyone kind of is doing, 'cause
Right.
sometimes you don't have a lot of time. Once you figure it out,
Right.
okay, you know what? Adrian's a bit more aggressive a drummer than another drummer I might play for. I'm just saying as an example, right? So because he's more aggressive,
Right.
as a bass player,
Right.
I'm not doing as much.
Ah, okay.
But if I'm playing with another drummer who
Right.
maybe he just prefers just to be more laid back,
Right.
maybe I might have a little bit more room to kind of push that groove.
Got
because
you.
the drums and the bass are so locked. So there's certain things that if I'm out of timing with maybe his kick pedal or his
Right.
groove,
Right.
it throws everything off.
Right.
Same thing. Now, as the bass player, we also have to connect the dots with not just the bass, with not just drums, because bass players oftentimes just think about we just got to lock with the
With
drummer.
the drums and ignore everything else.
You got to lock with everybody.
Right,
You got to
right,
lock with
right,
the
right.
keyboardist,
Right.
which means you got to figure out what the keyboardist is playing.
Right.
Oh, I've heard some people, like we're using these in-ear monitor mixes.
Yeah.
If you ever listen to some people's in-ear monitor mixes,
It's
they
just
got
bass.
themselves all the way up. You can't hear any vocals. You
Yeah.
can't hear any keys.
all you
or
hear is
maybe you
the-
hear a little bit of keyboard.
Okay.
So that tells me that you're just doing your own thing because
Right.
you don't know what the keyboard is doing.
For real.
Especially if it's a good keyboard player.
Yeah.
Like, I want to turn myself down now. I want to turn things down. I want to turn him up, and I want
Right.
to make sure I'm hearing what he's doing.
Right.
Because he's going to directly influence what I'm going to do.
Got you.
His progressions are going to affect the progressions that I'm going to play.
Right.
And because of his voicings, I'm going to adjust some voicings.
Right.
Which is where
Right.
substitutions may come in. But once again, it depends on the person that you're playing with.
For real.
Because substitutions are not... Just because it works doesn't mean you should do it all the time.
Okay.
Just because
All
it
right.
works doesn't mean you should do it.
Right.
Right, so it's a lot of different focuses that we're pulling from.
Discipline, right?
Right?
Yeah.
And I was guilty because when I start to feel it,
Yeah, you went for it.
I might try and do something I probably shouldn't. And you know, a big part of my routine, I have to learn how to pull back sometimes.
Right,
Because sometimes I'll get not carried away, but I'll just get,
Right.
"Whoa, let's go.
Yeah,
And, you know,
yeah.
I understand, but you really have to learn your timing because
Right.
there's a time, and sometimes you are going to have that time in that song where
Right.
it's like, okay, Athol,
Yeah, that's
we
a
want
spot.
you. This
Yep.
is you.
Yep.
Right? You know those songs when you hear them. It's like, okay,
Right.
you
Yep.
kind of got the green light because we're going to pat it and we're going to hold it down for you.
Yeah.
Right? And then just to finish off and tie with all the instruments,
Yeah.
guitar.
Right.
Bass players are playing bass.
Right.
Talking about in a band setting.
Right.
So if he's up here doing his thing,
Right.
why
right.
am I up there doing it too?
Right.
Unless we have something that we've worked out
Right.
and we're working together. Ideally, you pick your spots. If the guitar player is doing his, let him do his thing.
You want to play bass.
Stay down here.
Right.
Stay in your lane.
Right. Got
Right?
you.
Once again, timing is everything. Because
Yep.
you hear those things where sometimes, oh, that sounded pretty nice.
Right.
And it can sound nice. But, you know, the rule of thumb is typically
Right.
bass is playing bass.
Right.
Focus on your bass part, do
Right.
your bass thing. If there's a spot, you do your spot and you come back. And make sure it complements.
Yep.
Make sure
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
Because sometimes there are lines that are repetitious within the music.
Right.
And sometimes if I do that line, it can add an effect to the overall song.
Yep.
But I don't stay there.
Right.
I'm not just gonna stay up there to play that melody.
Yep.
I'm gonna go back to my line.
Right. Yeah.
So
no, that's wonderful. You know what, Athol? I wanted, because you touched on something important, right? You touched on like locking with the drums.
Yeah.
As a bass player, and so I'm gonna put you guys on the spot. Can you guys just give us a bit of a demonstration of what you mean? Like what?
Bass and drum?
Bass and drum. Yeah, I want to hear a little bit of, just how you approach that. So,
Okay.
so I guess Adrian could start with a groove, or, oh,
Me start. Okay. All right. Fair enough. What's up? Okay. All right. Let's try some things.
that just feels right. Oregon, where you at? Keys, what do you have to say? Talk to us. Keys, talk to us. Guitar, where you at? That felt really good. Thank you for that demonstration, Athol. That was awesome.
No problem. So, like I said, so you heard how Adrian, he came in and he figured out what I was doing.
Right.
Sometimes there's a moment where you just kind of have to figure out what the pattern is. So that's why it's important to, if you have a pattern, maintain the pattern.
Right.
Then he'll catch on.
Right.
Then somebody else will come in. And obviously, as you heard, when everybody came in, you just, if I was to go more crazy and Steve was to try and do his thing and him it with his thing,
right,
sounds silly. So I just held it down, right? And you find little spots. He found his spots. The guitar player found his spots. And
awesome. No, that sounds good. Everybody's like, "Oh, done already!" Like this is great. Like everybody's like, "No, that's great, guys. Thank you." Last, oh yeah. Let's get Adrian.
I just wanted to say real quick. A lot of times when bass players and drummers
Hold on,
say,
plug. I think you're. Yeah.
Plugged in. Hello.
Okay, there we go. We got you.
Yo, boss, talking the whole time. The thing is just out.
We got you.
A lot of times
man.
when I think bass players and drummers, they say let's lock. They think specifically that the kick and the bass have to lock. A lot of times it doesn't. As long as I remain consistent and he remains consistent, everything will just fall into place. So if you notice the first 8 bars, 4 bars, I just allowed him to do his thing. So I could figure out, as he said, where I was in the groove, and then I found my place. And I wasn't playing exactly what he was playing with my kick, except for that last shot, the da-da-da. That's the only thing I caught. But I did my own thing, stayed consistent. So that's one of the things a lot of drummers got to do. Just because bass players and drummers, they think it's
always kick.
No,
Right.
So,
no, that's great. You guys are teaching. That's great. Awesome. Last but not least, so we're gonna go over to Steve, and Steve, you're gonna just talk to us a little bit. Keys. Yes. So many, I imagine, different approaches based on your situation, right? Is there an organ playing with you? Is there a second keys? Is there guitars or not? Talk to us a little bit about your approach, Steve, as far as different situations and how keys fit in.
I would say your situation is different, so your approach will be different. No situation is the same. I grow in church churches where, like Athol said, the more people in the band, the less you do.
Right.
Well, I've grown in bands where it's little. So I'm always feeling to over,
Right.
Because, you practice with a 3-piece, but you're practicing a song with a 7-piece.
Right.
So I think that gives you a certain, like you just have a lot of in you to, but then, there's stages to life, so you'll do that. You might get used to that Sunday after Sunday because that's your home church, but then someone calls you to do a gig where there's 7 of you.
Right.
So you can't think that way.
Right.
And go into there with that mindset. But, music is life.
Mm.
As we were talking, there's certain things like Adrian said, you have to have discretion. You have to know when to come in, when to pull back. That's discretion in life.
Right.
You have to have that in life.
Right.
You have to know.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
you have to have patience. You have to have that in life.
Right.
You have to know when to go and when not to.
Right. Right.
And I think that I watch a lot of basketball, so I draw a lot of reference from basketball.
Hey. So who'd you got to win it?
Well, right now,
yeah,
with everything that's
right
going
now,
on,
it's been
I will. I'm gonna say Phoenix.
Yeah. Really, huh? I can see that though. Booker.
Yeah.
CP3. It's his time, alright? Yeah. It's his time. He's got to get one.
That's what I would say, But we'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right.
But as Harden and KD and Irving came together, and everyone is just in awe.
Right.
Yo, look how these three. When you play with great players,
right,
everything becomes easy.
Right.
The same thing with music.
Right.
So, so every approach is different, because every situation is different. Just like life, no 2 days are the same.
Right. So Steve, I mean, you've got your keys right there. I mean, you kind of have to show us what you're talking about a little bit.
Show you what I'm talking about.
Man. Like, so I guess maybe an approach of overplaying, or maybe you talked about how you played more full, like if you're in a 3-piece band, for example, versus maybe like a 7-piece, or like where you might, I don't know.
Well, yeah, because if you play with certain people, they might hear a song to be like, I didn't hear the line. Where's the
line? Right.
And then
right.
You're playing the chords.
Right.
You're worried about the chords. You're like, I don't hear the line.
Right.
So you gotta put in the line.
Right.
And try to hold the chord. You're just used to, do what you gotta do. That's more what I was saying.
So why don't you?
Here's the line, buddy.
So why don't you play?
Let's give me the line. Go ahead.
I don't know, man.
Anything, Steve.
What am I to play? I don't know. I'm embarrassed right now. So what am I doing?
Just play for us, Steve.
Play
piano.
My gosh, I don't know, man.
Man, Steve, thank you.
You're welcome, man.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Thank you for
guys for helping me.
Man.
This guy's sweating extra hard, you know.
Thanks, guys. I didn't know what to do.
Man, Steve.
I never heard the line.
Yeah,
Go ahead, man.
No, Steve, you've got it, man. You got it. So, without any further ado, I think you guys had another song that you wanted to perform. So I know we had some other questions. We're actually going to open it up afterwards. So why don't you guys play one more song for us, and then afterwards, actually, and just a little bit of housekeeping on the Zoom call. If y'all can actually mute your mics and ensure your mics stay muted unless speaking, that'd be really helpful. Just making sure we're cutting down. First of all, how's the audio? How's the audio, y'all? Because I don't know if you guys are hearing what I'm hearing, but it sounds good. Are you guys hearing this? All right, good stuff. Awesome. So we're gonna get the band to play for us, and then after that, we're gonna open up for some questions from the audience. All right. So let me see if we can get this over here. Oh, so it's on me. So yeah, we're gonna get the band to play a little something for us. Is that all right, guys? You guys want to hear the band? All right, I'm seeing some. All right, good. All right, good stuff. So yeah, let's mute, and the band will play something for us, and then we'll do a little bit of talking after. We lost camera 6, but wow. I've got some comments for you guys. Oh, I think we got it back. Some folks are saying vibes, YouTube, Guanin, music. Someone said you got Zoom sounding like a record right now. Wow. So big up to Cordell. Big up to Cordell Hay on the sound, getting us sounding right. Hey, everybody's giving you a clap, Cordell. Thank you for getting us sounding right. Thank you so much. Wow. I don't even know what to say after that. Wow. We've got some amazing musicians in the room. I'm going to ask you guys to talk a little bit about chemistry, because what I just heard was chemistry. And I heard what's interesting about that is I don't think you guys, like, have you ever played as a band collectively before this moment? All right, let's hear from the band, y'all. So, G, you helped get the band together. G, have you played in a band with everyone here like this before, or
not this specific set of people? Like,
wow,
like certain pieces or certain people with other people, but
right.
not like this.
So talk about chemistry, because we just heard chemistry. How do you develop that chemistry?
Being intentional.
Right.
So I get the weirdest analogies, but like, say if you're in a relationship with someone, a girl preferably, you have to be intentional with, they have needs.
Right.
So you're going to listen to what they have to say. So if they have an issue with a certain, I don't know, like you keep leaving your socks on the floor, or if you guys live together, whatever.
Right.
You have to be intentional about caring about what it is that they're saying to you.
Right.
So I look at it as the same thing, where as much as Athol might, for the most part, follow me,
right,
I also do the same thing, because I feel like it should be a two-way street where, yes, he can bounce off of me, but I can also bounce off him. I can bounce off of Steve too, right?
Right.
So I look at it as being intentional when you're playing with the band, not just be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this and do that. Like,
right.
As I can't remember who said it, but like, you have to make sure that you're not getting in anybody's way. Just making sure that whatever you're doing is cohesive.
Right.
So I'm losing my train of thought, but pretty much you just want to be cohesive with what you're doing so that you're not getting in anybody's way.
Right.
And I think even choosing the band too, like I was strategic.
Right.
Because I could have called this person, I could have called that person, but I'm just like, no, like you. Where you call certain when you're putting a band together, you have to consider, like, are these going to be A-class musicians? Not in terms of their gift,
right?
In terms of their mindset,
right?
Right. IQ,
right?
Because you can have chops for days, but you know how to apply it,
right?
When I'm speaking to you musically, are you going to listen to me,
right?
And vice versa,
right?
So that's kind of how I look at it, to be honest.
Awesome. We're gonna get Adrian. Talk to us a little bit about chemistry. You play with a lot of different bands, and talk about chemistry. Like, what's that like? Sometimes you've never played with people, and you gotta figure it out. Talk to us about that.
Yet again, piggybacking off of what Germaine said, I think the major thing is being very intentional with what you play, so that people can get a good concept of exactly what's going on while the music is playing. Right. When it comes to chemistry, I think someone said, I can't remember who, but they said it's either you have it or you don't. And as he said, when putting a band together, it's not necessarily who has the fastest chops. It's about, like, a lot of times it's about the mindset, a vibe. For me, as I get older, I only care about positivity and funness. And a lot of times these guys are, as soon as I look at Steve, the first thing we do is laugh. Same thing with Germaine. I haven't seen him in years, but the first thing we do is laugh. Like, there's a kindred spirit that we all kind of have together. That adds to the music. Can you imagine? I've never had this experience, and I've toured a lot, but I've never had the experience of hating someone and being on the road with them. I've never experienced that, but I can imagine a person like me, like I wouldn't vibe with that. It wouldn't be the same type of atmosphere. Every time you have to play, it'd be like, ew, please die a slow death. Like, I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, and a couple of times I have told I haven't told anybody that. But a couple times I've let people know, yo, I don't really vibe with you.
Take it easy on them, man. Come on.
No,
bro.
but a lot, like I'm very not outspoken, but I'm straight to the point. Like, because I believe in open communication,
Right.
So that no one knows or no one can assume. Everyone's like, this is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So a lot of times, being and having the same type of spirit with people that have the same level of musicality, if not more. I think all these guys are extremely like gifted in their own right, but coming together, bringing it together.
Exactly.
We're all mindful of what we're playing.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No, that's awesome. I'm gonna get over to Athol and Jozef. Talk to us a little bit about chemistry. I don't know who wants to go first. Jozef, why don't you go first?
Okay. I mean, how do I say this? There's a lot has been said by, I think, all of us about, to paraphrase, intention and doing what you're kind of supposed to do, not getting in people's way.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just practice.
Right.
Right. Allow yourself to mess up.
Right.
Shoot. You know, I've definitely been in situations where I've like royally screwed up and not gotten a call back.
You're keeping it 100. You're keeping it 100 right now.
But
bro.
then, and I, to be fair, I definitely beat myself up after that kind of thing.
Right.
And that was a couple of years back, but now it's kind of to a point where not you know exactly what's expected, but you have a better idea.
Experience.
And so if I make a mistake, it's probably not going to be at the same scale that I would have before.
Right.
We're human. We're going to mess up.
Right.
So it's I've messed up enough to know what's probably going to work and what to stay away from.
Right.
So when it comes to playing with other people, it's just like, I don't know. You got to give yourself the time to practice and do it.
Right.
Get together with players. Play with people who are better than you.
Right. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, for real.
I think I learned more in 5 minutes, and you probably don't even remember this, but Courtney Fraser's Shed Night. Mm-hmm. I sat on guitar for a couple songs, knew none of them.
Right.
But learned more just from like 5, 6, 7 minutes of getting my butt handed to me.
Right.
By everyone in the room.
Right.
And taking that in.
Right.
Than I would have like spending a week alone in a basement practicing.
Right. For real. So
So
experience, like literally getting out there.
I think there are people who are definitely more inclined to have the musical chemistry with people.
Right.
But it also comes down to, are you going to dare to develop it yourself? Like put the time in and practice, because if you do that, it's going to grow.
Right. Awesome. No, that's awesome, man. Some words of wisdom, man. Thank you. Yeah, for real. Athol, a lot's been said, but I mean, if you've got do you have any perspective just to kind of add chemistry and developing chemistry?
Well, just to add to what everyone else said, I think another thing with chemistry, and we can't forget it, it's, you develop chemistry over time when you're playing with certain people.
Right.
And at least for me, I find that I can, because of my mindset, when I go into something, I try and figure out everybody as fast as I can.
Right.
Everyone around me.
Right.
I try and figure them out really quickly. And then as a result of that, I'm able to build on something. And I can develop that kind of chemistry, even with us.
Right.
I tried to figure out what I could.
Right.
I've never played with Jozef ever.
Right.
Today's the first day. So if you're hearing
you can't tell. You can't tell
because there's certain spacing.
Right.
A lot of that comes from practicing and experience. Because when you practice and when you practice people better than you, you understand, you learn timing, spacing, and where things are supposed to happen.
Got you.
So when I start playing now, I'm, especially with like-minded people or people who are above me.
Right.
Then I know now, because I've made the mistakes in the past, so I know what not to do next time going around. Right. And then you kind of build on that. Got you. Like chemistry now, for instance, like my church band, for instance. Like, they're young guys.
Yeah.
When we first started, like I think some of them
we got Dylan on here. We got
with our band, they started somewhere. Right. With like the guys like Dylan and DeAndre. Those are the guys that played. Shout out to those guys. Those are the guys that I played with. But at the very beginning of their stages, they couldn't play or we couldn't play the way that maybe they play now.
Right.
But what happened was during that time of them developing, practicing, getting the opportunity to play with someone better than them at the time, right, and growing, making mistakes. Now there are things that just happen, and we don't have to think about it.
It just happens.
Playing with Germaine for all those years, there are certain things. You know, I learn and remember. And I know, okay, Germaine don't like that, so I'm not gonna do that. But I also know, you know, Germaine does this, and at first, because you know, I have all these minds. My mind goes crazy sometimes. Just and I think a lot of that comes from the keyboard too. Where my mind will go crazy. Where it's like I got all these ideas. Something that I can get into keyboard's minds. Or something that I can forget that maybe I'm playing bass and I'm start doing things that keyboard is going to do this, so I'm going to do that too. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes the keyboard is looking for what the bass player is going to do, not what the keyboard player is going to do on bass. But that's where that chemistry comes from. So you find out certain things. Okay, this is where his wheelhouse. He likes that. So I can do that stuff. And then what happens is he develops the confidence. And now that I know, now I can kind of break out and I know where I can do certain stuff. Because there's a time when I might try this and he's not going to like that. But if I do this, he's going to like, he might like that. Or he is going to like that.
No, that's
you know, and that's how the chemistry is. Chemistry is developed over time. It doesn't come overnight. And you find what's nice is though, you find that there's some people, and I think it's magic. It's like a magical musical moment. You don't play with them often. But when you play with them,
it's like
all of it just
clicks.
It's like, whoa, we didn't even practice that. We didn't even. And it's just, how did that happen? How did you know I was going to do that? Or why does this feel so good? And I think that's the start of like a really serious chemistry, and you get that chemistry with those. But once again, that's built over time. So I'm going to draw the basketball reference. You can see when all-stars try and gather together and win a chip. And they don't win. But then you got the other team, you know, they just got that
chemistry.
They got that one player.
CP3.
That just you get that one player that came out of nowhere and he fits in on the squad. And they win a championship 2019. So you know what I'm saying? But that's where chemistry. But look what happens. But look what happens. That same guy decides he knows who he is. he goes to another team and they're struggling to win. Because the chemistry is not there. So sometimes you can have actually phenomenal musicians. And sometimes there is no chemistry. Because it's just a different thing, and a lot of that comes from the upbringing, maybe what you listen to, what your preferences are, and then so sometimes we're both great, but we just
together,
don't have and that happens. You're just not going to vibe with necessarily
ice
everybody.
cream and jerk chicken. Good on its own, together, I don't know.
But it's just that chemistry it doesn't happen with everybody, or what happens is it may take longer to develop with certain people.
And if I may add to that too, chemistry is not just band. Like chemistry is relationship. The mandem going out to get some wings. Trust me, that does something when you now say we got a gig or I'm playing at church. It makes I don't know how to explain it, but it creates this cohesiveness where you understand the person's mind and their vibes, and somehow it just comes together. And I don't know. Again, music, yes. Playing every Sunday, yes, or whatever. But relationship, those two together, it makes some great, what's the word I'm looking for? Recipe.
Right.
And even just to add, Adrian, you know more about the sign, dude. Maybe you can touch on it. When you're going on a tour, at least from what I've heard, sometimes you can have phenomenal musicians, but you can't take them on a tour because of the worst person to deal with, and that will just suss up the entire chemistry. So that's why, going to what Germaine says, you got to have that. You got to be a cool person, essentially, in that relationship, because we're not just playing with you, we're living with you, right?
We got you on that. We got you on that, Adrian.
No, for real. So obviously the talent gets you in the door. It's, as he said, it's the personality, your relationship with people that keeps you in. The only reason why I've been able to tour with said person or such people or whatever not the situation is, I'm a little bit of a weirdo, I'm not going to lie. at the same time, I understand people's boundaries. Right. And I understand, like, say you guys like basketball, say you like hockey or whatever. In order for us to vibe, yeah, sure, I might do a little research or 1-2 thing on a hockey thing just so that we can, you know, connect. Talk about, connect, have something to talk about. And us, we can do our basketball thing. You know what I mean? That's very important when on the road, because there's a lot of times where egos come into place, which is a disaster. Right. And a lot of times, I remember a couple people looking at me like, they would see a certain person, they'd be like, yo, is that his after party or is it my after party? Right. Like, what is he doing? And he's just doing the most. A lot of times when you're in those type of settings, those type of situations, you really have to, like, kind of be not introverted, because everybody's different, obviously. Right. But as you said, and as everybody's been saying, scope out the room first. Feel people out. I used to be the Bible thumping dude. I remember, like, being on tour my first year, speaking in tongues and taking cigarettes out of people's mouth. Like, there's no reason to ever do that. You know, you allow people to be them. You figure them out as a human being and then relate to them on that level.
Got you.
So, yeah.
Yeah, no. I definitely hear you. So going back just really quickly, thanks for that, Adrian. So Athol, I mean, I think you were sort of wrapping up on your point, but what I've heard you say is a lot of it develops over time, you know, starting and sort of continuing to grow, and eventually make some mistakes, but eventually around later on down the line, you know, you have that opportunity to get better over time. So that's great. So Steve is here with us, and so Steve, we're gonna get to you real quick, and we're just gonna talk to you about the same question, really, chemistry, and you know, there's something about, because also one thing I have the pleasure of listening in the room is just hearing certain things and how you're kind of going off of, I'm hearing this organ keys thing going on here. Talk to us a little bit about that. Chemistry and some of that.
Honestly, I will say that I don't really know, because I've this is my first time meeting Jozef.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's great. Yeah,
okay, so I know these guys. I know Athol, I know Adrian, I know Germaine.
Yep.
I love these guys.
Yep.
So it's like more than a music thing.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know him.
Right.
And I vibe with him.
Right.
So that's why I say I don't know. I don't know.
Can't even put words to it.
Yeah, like.
No, I hear you. Hey, that's why we have music.
Yeah.
Some certain things you can't even really express. You know what I mean? For real. So that's what's up. Thank you guys so much for that. Before the band plays us out, we just want to open up the floor. I know there are some questions. Some people are asking about practice routines. Some people are asking about tuning drums. So, all kinds of questions that people will have. So we just want to open up the floor for you to ask some questions, and we'll do our best to sort of direct. If you have a specific question, maybe for a specific person, we'll do our best to direct traffic that way. Or if you have a question maybe for the whole band, perhaps we'll do things that way as well. So first of all, are you guys enjoying this? Is this helping? Is this good? Is this okay? I'm seeing lots of head shakes. That's great. So that's good. So the floor is open. Let us know some of your questions. We want to give some time just for a little bit of Q&A before the band plays us out for tonight. Anyone have any questions for the band? Wow. Okay. None?
I got one.
Oh, okay. There we go. We got you, K-Vox. Is that you?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Talk to us. Yeah.
This is kind of a tricky one. Like, if you're playing in a situation where you're all up on stage and for whatever reason you feel like someone's out of time, how do you communicate with each other without saying anything to each other to come back and lock in?
Got you. So I think is that open up for the whole band?
Anyone.
Okay.
Yeah, for the whole band. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I have a really.
All right, hold on. Let's get to Athol real quick. There we go. Yeah, go ahead, Athol.
I'm gonna let Adrian address it, but because mine's a really simple solution for if you guys have talkbacks, you can actually. It's really nice because you can be discreet without broadcasting to everybody that hey, you're off time. You can actually say it in the microphone.
Okay.
And that
Right.
really helps,
Right.
right?
Okay.
But I know the other guys can probably address a nicer way of doing it if you don't have a talkback.
Okay.
Because, I'll say this. I've had situations where I was told maybe I'm out of time or
Right.
out of tune, maybe
Right.
on the bass
Right.
or
Yup.
something,
Yup.
or you're doing the most. You
Right.
know, I've had it rough.
Right.
We got to have, first things first, you got to develop a thick skin if
Right.
you're going to be a
Yes.
musician.
Right. Right.
You shouldn't be, don't cry or get disappointed, disheartened, and want to throw your stuff away because we're hard on you. Because chances are, we're doing it to correct you. Some people have other intentions, but for the
Right.
most part, if you're around the right people, they're there to help you. Don't take it as a shot, just grow from it.
Right.
Because it's hard to correct someone that doesn't want to be corrected or can't be corrected.
Right.
Right. So first things first, develop a thick skin.
Right.
I've had it the other way, but I developed a thick skin. So now, if someone looks at me and maybe does the tapping of the wrist,
Right.
if you're looking at the MD and maybe they're saying that's a very simple way of knowing you're out of time. So that's a couple ways.
Awesome. Adrian, you got something on that?
I would yet again piggyback off of what Athol was saying. I'm assuming you're in a live setting. If you don't have a talkback mic, I would say it is up to the drummer to make sure that they have and they understand where the one is, where the time is. So for me personally, because I honestly hate when like things are obviously there's human sway and that's obviously acceptable. But when you're just completely off time, my thing is I make sure that I give them the pulse.
Right.
I will point to them. Hey. It's right here, and I let them know because yet again, like communication is key, right?
Right.
So I don't want that person thinking they're doing their own thing or whatever, and they're killing it or whatever. No, I'm gonna let them know, like, and respectfully, I'm not going to throw shade at them. I'll just be like, yo, here's the timing, and if they choose to obviously go off or do their own thing, then I'll have a private conversation with them. There's no reason to like air out their dirty laundry, but for the most part, in a band setting, a live setting, a singer setting or whatever, I'm making sure I'm drilling it into their head. This is where the beat is.
So basically, your approach is make it so obvious that they can't.
They cannot deny where the one is from setup to finish. Yes, it's right here.
Got you. No, that's awesome. That's great. Anyone else on that question before we sort of move on? Anyone else had a thought? Okay, cool. No. All right. So going back over to our call here. Did anyone else? Oh, Joel, you got your hand up. Talk to us. What's your question?
I have a question for you, Joel.
For me? Okay. What's up?
Yeah. So you're recording a Zoom. So how can I find the recording?
Oh, great question. We are going to be posting this hopefully to YouTube or some other means once it is available. I just lost that camera, but it's okay. So what you can do is just sort of are you following us on our social media, our Insta, our Facebook, all that good stuff?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, there you go. So as soon as that stuff is ready and available, I'm very happy with what we're hearing. So hopefully the recording sounds half as good and will be good. But in any case, just kind of keep an ear out. We promise we will be releasing it. So yeah, just kind of keep an ear out, but it will be coming out for sure. Anyone else? Oh, sorry. Jeremy, I saw you had a question. This question is actually for Adrian. Adrian, can you explain how you tune your drums?
Yeah, when it comes to tuning, I'm looking for a nice even tone for the most part. So when it comes to the toms, how I tune, I normally have the resonant head, which is the bottom skin, a little bit higher. Today I didn't do that because these are new skins and the drums just sound blessed. This is Yamaha. Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, I play Pearl. Like I'm endorsed by Pearl, and anything here I'm not even supposed to be playing, but it's okay, man. But the bottom, I normally tune the bottom skin just slightly higher, so it gets that that sound.
Right.
I personally like a controlled sound, so I'll have moon gels and dampers on because I like Larnell, who's the drum god. He's able to tune to a point where he can get his tom sounding immaculate without the padding.
Wow.
I personally like it with the padding because it gives more control to the sound man. Maybe Cordell can jump on. Yeah, he don't. But yeah, for me personally, I like that controlled sound. So I do moon gels.
Right.
I normally do from 10-inch to floor inch to the floor tom. I normally do octaves. I don't think that's the case with this.
Okay.
And then I normally do a minor. So for people who play piano, I don't really play piano, but I normally do like a minor thing. That is not the case with this at all.
Right.
This is my own personal snare. I normally like it mid, not too tight or panny, because then that gets that ring.
Right.
Cymbals, I personally like trashy cymbals. These are different. These are Zildjian Dark K. I can't really speak on these, to be honest, because I don't really use them.
Right.
But I like thinner crashes. And when it comes to the kick, yet again, I like a very padded, controlled sound. So I'll have like a pillow or a blanket inside.
Got you.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
All right. Hopefully that answers your question there, Jeremy. And did anyone else have any other questions for the band before we sort of get ready for them to play us out? Just a couple of things while you guys are gathering your last sort of thoughts and questions. I'm going to drop a link in the group chat. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed hosting it and being a part. But if you really want to see more sessions like this, you actually have the power to make that happen. What you can do is actually give us some great feedback. We depend very heavily on our funders, our sponsors, etc., to be able to put on sessions like this. And so, if the feedback is positive, it usually means that we can continue to do these kinds of things. So, just full disclosure, guys, if you want to see more stuff like this, drop us some love. I'm going to drop the link right now in the group chat. So you all will be able to see that. So drop some love there. Let us know what you liked about it, how we can improve, how we could do better, what worked, what didn't work. Really, just drop some feedback. I can't stress it enough. It goes a long, long, long way. All right, so we're going to open it up for one last question, if there is one.
All right, I got one.
Okay, Prince, what's going on?
What's up with you? I just had a quick question. I'm not sure if you guys already answered this question. I joined a little bit late, but anyways, I was wondering how, say someone in the band messes up, how do you guys cover that?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you for that, Prince. So we got Germaine on that first. Go ahead, Germaine.
It kind of comes back to what we were saying earlier. Be respectful. Don't be emotional. And I say that in the sense of, say me as the MD, that maybe the drummer is playing off beat or the bass player is playing the wrong line. I have to put my feelings aside. Because if I don't think about how I'm about to react, then I can... And yeah, if I don't think about how I'm going to react,
right,
I could offend somebody. However, as Athol did say, thick skin.
Right.
Yeah. However, me being the MD or whoever else, where I'm trying to correct you, I still need to be respectful to the individual.
Right.
Because you have some people who are just ruthless.
Right.
What are you doing? You're trash and blah. Right. That's not necessary. Right. So yeah, I would say be respectful. Don't make it obvious.
Right.
You have some people who are like, I remember I saw some guy at some concert where I guess the guitarist messed up or whatever. He's like, yo, what are you doing? This is live, way before COVID. Anyway, let me sit down. But yeah, don't make it obvious.
Right.
Because truth is, as Adrian said earlier, most people in the crowd or congregation has no idea.
No clue.
A lot of the things are going over their heads. So unless you actually react to it, they're not going to know. So keep your composure and discreetly communicate to whoever. Like, hey, get this. You're supposed to be here. Watch out. Like, okay, no, E flat.
Right.
No, you're supposed to. Obviously don't yell. But yeah, just be respectful, be mindful, and don't make it obvious.
Got you. No, that's great. That's some great advice. Anyone else? Yep. Yeah. Go ahead, Adrian.
I would jump on and say the exact same thing. One of the main things is as these guys, Athol said and Germaine said, it's actually having a thick skin. Because I've seen a lot of times where someone got reprimanded in the band and like their mood changed and that changes the whole atmosphere for everybody. You know what I mean? So the key to actually having like thick skin, you just, as Germaine said, you just got to put ego aside. Understand that it's coming from a place of love and everybody wants to sound excellent in their own, like, you know what I mean? Or together as a band. So when it comes to like just discreetly being respectful and letting the person know, hey, you're off time, or hey, you made a mistake or whatever not, y'all can figure it out because, as I said, 0.001 of the population understands music the way we understand it. No one's going to be like, oh man, that was a minor 7 with a flat 9 in there. Like, no one's thinking that. So if you miss a line, as you said, don't make it obvious because as soon as you like screw up your face, someone in the crowd with cameras, Instagram Live, everybody's going to be like, wait, what was that? And then now you're viral. You know what I mean? If you keep a straight face, you just look over, you smile, I guarantee no one will notice. So that's how you cover it, in my opinion.
For real. And is it fair to say that as a drummer, it's kind of obvious if you're off though? Is that kind of fair to say? Like,
absolutely it is.
Yeah.
Which is why like you always got to try your best to play it safe. Because I've been in an arena where it was actually my time to shine, a drum solo, and I drop off the drums.
Wow.
Yeah, in front of 10,000 people. It was blessed. At the time, no one's camera was out. I don't know how, but yet again, the crowd didn't notice. They thought it was a part of the act. Oh, that was so cool. There was fireworks and there was no drummer, but there was still a beat. How did you do that? To me, my feet are in the air. And everyone was like, yo, this is incredible. That's the greatest drum solo I've ever seen. And again, I just got up, did my thing, and just continued on. You know what I mean?
That's what's up.
The key is to just keep your composure, as Germaine said, man. That's the main thing.
That's great. That's great. I think we heard some good stuff on that. We're gonna move on. Someone had a question for the guitar player, Jozef. Yeah, man, talk to us, Jozef. This question is coming from Philip. Philip, you have your question? Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I have 2 questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which, as a guitar player, how do you build a cohesive relationship with the keys that you're not clashing, but you're more rather complementing each other?
Awesome. It's a great question.
That's a really good question. And to be completely honest, something that I am still trying to figure out and probably will never stop trying to figure out. But really, it's just don't get in the way, I guess. So if you hear, and especially if there's more than one keys player. So, we've got keys, organ, sometimes there's aux. You know, again, depending on how big the band is. I can't remember who, maybe it was Athol that said it earlier, but if the band is bigger, you play less.
Right.
So if they're playing in a certain register, I'm not going to play in that same register.
Right.
And this is assuming that there's a song where, like, there's not already a prescribed part for you, right? Like, if you're just having to kind of find your own little thing, I would just try to make sure it's not in anyone's way, either harmonically, so like where I am, or rhythmically, because you don't want to be playing over someone else either. So I get that would be the main thing for me, is just like find a spot, fit in it, and make sure you're not covering anything important.
Right. No, that's great. Thank you. And sorry, Philip, you said you had another. Was it a 2-part question, or you said you had 2?
Yes. Yeah. I was also curious. For the first song, you had this very rhythmic feel. You said it was inspired by the Ricky Dillard album. How did you develop that sound?
Like the
rhythmic type of.
Oh boy. Honestly, I think that's just kind of how I play. If I look at old, because I'll keep like a video log of, I have videos of me in high school playing just to kind of see like, what did I do? What did I like of that? How far have I come? What did I not like? How has my playing changed? All that stuff.
That's great.
If you record your practice sessions, just FYI, really, really, really good.
Right.
But ever since I've been playing, it's always been more, I'm going to say more rhythmic than melodic, I think. That's just kind of been my general approach. So if we take that first song. Can they hear that right now?
Yep. Yeah. Right.
Do you mind just giving like some kind of super light rhythm?
1, 2,
could do this. That, or turning around, I could do it this way.
Yeah. Come on.
Thank you.
Get in there.
But just like
Joseph,
that,
I'm sorry.
Hey, that's right there, fam. That's right there, man. That's
so
right there.
I don't know if that's like super clear, but you could hear the first one was a lot,
Yup.
right? That's just more of like be aware of what everyone's doing. If there are pads going on, you don't need to cover that.
Right.
Do something shorter, maybe a little bit funkier, kind of sit over top of it and make people, give it the
Yes,
bump.
sir. Hey. Easy.
If you've got people doing that, that's my number one goal. If
That's
you can
what's
get
up.
people to do that, so
Yes,
playing
sir.
rhythmically, whatever makes you kind of do that
Yes,
while
sir.
you're playing, you're in a happy
I gotta
place.
hear it. And I
That's
So
it.
like,
Hey. Come on.
just like,
Hey, keep going, man. Why'd you stop? Yo, keep going, man. Keep going.
I don't know if this is really answering your question because it's just kind of been like a natural thing. But also, what kind of repertoire are you taking in? Like, what are you listening to? Are you
Right. listening
listening to like funky stuff? Are you listening to stuff that's like super washy? These are really generic terms, but like,
Yeah.
if you what
for-
you're taking in is gonna definitely sort of determine what's putting out, right? You're never gonna sound like someone else. You're always gonna sound like you, even if you're trying to copy someone else, right? I'm a lot of times trying to copy other players, but it never sounds like them, as disappointing as that is to me. So if you like are conscious about what you take in, listen to players who are doing some kind of funky stuff, it's gonna come out in your playing. Lift some of their lines, try to implement them in other songs. Yeah, I don't know if that helps,
Yeah,
but like
that's great. No, that's great. Really.
Sorry, if I may add to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a simple saying that they always say, "You are what you eat."
Right.
So literally, as he said, like if you're trying to learn reggae but you're listening to rock, all you're gonna know is rock. So it's like literally, if you listen to reggae all the time, you're gonna know how to play reggae. If you listen to jazz, you're gonna know how to play jazz. So it's like literally, you are what you eat in terms of what you take in.
Right. No, great point. Actually, right before you guys play, I don't know if there are any other questions, but I think one really important question that kind of came up with Joseph, practice. What do you practice? So maybe just talk to us. Tell us what you practice and how you approach practice. I think that's a good way to kind of, as we kind of go towards the end of this, talk a little bit about practice. What can people be working on? What should you work on? What shouldn't you work on? What are you practicing these days, based on where you are in your musical walk, etc. Let's talk a little bit about practice real quick. Why don't we start with Athol? Why don't you start us off on that?
So when it comes to practice, what I practice and how I'll show you how I practice as someone who's married with children and a full-time job. Because
you got to talk to me then, Athol.
Because the way I practice is going to be different from the person that's doing music for a living,
Right.
or versus the person that's only playing part-time,
Right.
or the person that doesn't have anything else to do, or
Right.
the person that has certain things to do.
Right.
So practice you have to figure out what's going to work for you.
Right.
At least for me, my practice has to be focused.
Right.
Right. So if I have to learn a song, then the way you learn a song is not turning on the song and just jamming with it and kind of getting, all right, I can kind of get an idea and I can probably add this cool little chop here. When I go in there, maybe like, but you don't know, but you don't know
the song.
But you don't know how to play the intro properly.
Right.
Right. Yep. Or you skim through the song so you get a general idea, but you're not listening to the details and realizing, wait a second, it's not just the one that he's playing there. He's actually probably playing something that walks into a one.
Right.
Or he's playing something, a few other notes, or he's not even playing a certain thing at a certain spot, but you're doing something because you're used to it.
Right.
The most effective way to practice, and I've heard this, is you don't know if you practice what you don't know. That's how you grow. You don't
Ah.
practice what you know because you know it already, right?
Right.
Obviously, you practice. Maybe you want to work on the speed and you develop it.
Right.
But if you really want to grow, practice something that you're not necessarily familiar with or you can't do properly.
Right.
And then
right.
you work on those type of things. So whether it's a scale, building up dexterity.
Got you.
Whether it's cleaning up your technique.
And so talk a little bit about that because you mentioned family. You don't get the chance to practice as much. So when you do pick up the bass, is it usually I gotta learn a song right now, or is it more like are you doing exercise? Like what are you doing, Athol?
So for me right now, and it's bad, but I guess it's really I'm doing it to make sure if there's music I gotta learn for Sunday or a gig, or whatever it is. That's
what you're practicing.
main thing.
Right.
If I have time to try some other stuff.
Right.
Then I'll do it. And honestly, sometimes it leads into that because you're going to start practicing and then you're going to catch a vibe. So you're going to learn the music and then you're going to be like, now, I got some ideas here.
Right.
And I'm going to try and work out some stuff.
Right.
And I want to see if it works technically as
right.
well.
Right.
Because it's one thing just do a chop, but it may not work.
Right.
So that's where the theory and the music and those kind of things come in. So you make sure that what you're doing actually complements and actually works with the music. So with my time, like I said, if I have an hour, then I got to make sure I'm honed in on the songs, making sure I'm catching the details.
Exactly.
And what's going to happen if you're playing with people who are better than you? They're going to know that you practiced or didn't practice because those details. Miss it. But if you're playing with people who are just doing whatever they want, you're probably not going to grow as best as you ought to. I suggest that whatever you're going to do, especially if it's the first time you got to hear it, learn it like the track.
Got you.
Then do
just
your
like
stuff
the
after.
track. Yeah.
Right. At least get it as close to whatever. Whatever. As Joseph was saying, everyone sounds different. Right. You can try and emulate certain things. That's okay to put yourself in there, but make sure you're getting the key stuff that's necessary for the song.
Got you. No, that's wonderful. Joseph, you're right there. So, I mean, talk to us, brother. Practice. What are you practicing, man? I see you riffing and doing lots of stuff. Talk to us.
Yeah. Honestly, my practice the last year has been not much playing and just a lot more listening.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
And trying to take in something, internalize it, and then lift it, figure it out. Where else can I use it?
Right.
Making sure it fits in a spot.
Right.
Depending on what's going on, but just because of time and work and life.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to do more of this, but right now it's more just, if someone sends a track and says, hey, I need guitar on this, need it in a couple days kind of thing.
Right.
It's just sit down, listen to something, figure it out.
Right.
Sometimes there are all kinds of crazy runs and shots and whatever. You got to, figure that out.
Yep.
So it's less playing practice and more just honestly listening to stuff, learning new stuff, trying to figure out how to play it and not just forget it the next day.
Gotcha. Right. Yep. That's
there's always warm-ups and technical things that I'll try to stay on top of, especially if I feel something slipping.
Right.
But yeah, no, my practice for me over the last especially year has been a lot less playing and just more listening in general.
Awesome. No, that's wonderful, man. Thank you. Adrian, same question. Practice.
Athol said, Athol said something said something really important, which was when you're learning a song, you actually learn the screaming though. Yeah, you learn the song. Learn it verbatim. Joseph said something earlier too, where no matter how much you try and emulate someone else, you're going to sound like yourself.
Right.
So, for instance, I remember for the drummers out there, there's a drummer named Calvin Rogers who's incredible.
Right.
How I practiced in the early day, people don't realize. They just thought I came out of the woodworks. Like, oh my God, you have crazy chops. No, I used to practice easily 4 or 5 hours a day.
Right.
And I would practice everything verbatim. So as Calvin Rogers did, if he did a tom hit, I'm hitting that exact tom hit at that exact same time.
Right.
And out of that, you develop a vocabulary, you learn that, and then yourself comes into play. So I'm lunched. I'm not all there. I'm when I play drums, it kind of reflects that. Obviously, I'm listening to everybody, but when it comes to my fills and stuff like that, I took what I've learned from learning exactly what they did and then grew on top of that.
Making it your own.
So yes, I practiced for hours and hours nonstop, and I don't anymore, but I'm where Jozef is now. So all I do is really listen.
Right.
Even today, learning like the song, I asked Germaine, like we ran through it a couple times, but I listened to it to be like, okay, there's a little odd bar here. This is kind of weird.
Right.
Let me hone in on that and figure out why they did that.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's great.
It's a lot of listening.
Let's get Steve. Let's get Germaine, and then I think we'll get. Oh, there's one last question. So why don't we do it like this? We'll get Steve and Germaine on the practice question, but also talk a little bit because there's one other question in the group chat. We don't want to miss it. Just networking, how people can connect, how we can network, meeting other musicians. So let's do Germaine on that first.
Practice. We're talking about practice. Sorry, I thought about Allen Iverson just now. To be honest, like it's kind of the same thing what everybody else was saying. I spend more time listening. And it's not that practice is not important, but I truly believe, based on my experience, once you've really put in the work growing up, you don't have to practice as much. Not to say that's not important.
Right.
But it's like there's a hump that you get over where it's like you've mastered the instrument in terms of understanding how it operates.
Right.
Right.
Foundation.
Exactly.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So once you've passed that threshold, for example, someone who hasn't passed that hump, they'll take 6 hours to learn a song where it may take me 15 minutes.
Right.
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 So I think it's just a matter of, for me, again, I listen more. So that I can understand what's going on mentally, because I think it's really more so mentally to a certain extent, understanding what's going on, but also hearing the changes.
Right.
And once you're hearing it and it goes in, then you process what's going on.
Gotcha.
So I look at it as I said, I don't practice as much. I listen first. Because as I said earlier, like when you're in a relationship, you have to listen to understand and not listen to respond, right? Because as Athol said, like you hear the music and you're responding opposed to listening. Where you're like, oh man, this track, oh yeah, and then it's like, but okay, did you miss the flat 7? Oh,
right.
But you missed the flat 6 to the 3 to like,
right.
Did that make sense? Anyways, but yeah, like again, like listening, pretty much. As I said, like practice is important. Don't get me wrong. However, there's still a certain level of understanding that you have to have when it comes to your instrument.
Gotcha.
And again, that comes with, again, if you're still learning, again, you still got to put in that time to get to that point where you understand what's going on, what this chord is, what this bass line is, how to do this, how to do that. And once you get over that hump, as I said, easy breezy from there.
No,
in my opinion.
And quickly on networking, just touch on it, like 20 seconds.
From what aspect?
I guess just meeting other musicians. If folks are trying to, maybe I want to learn how to play in a band. Maybe I want to learn how to, meet other people. How do you network? What's a good approach?
Number one, don't be afraid, and don't be awkward. I can't lie. me growing up, I was a shy guy.
Right.
So. And I still low-key am, but not as much.
Right.
And I think because of that, it prevented people from getting to know me because I was so like in my head, like,
right.
Oh, that's Arnell, bro. That's this guy. And it's like, but at the end of the day, like these guys are just as human as I am.
Right.
So I'd say, like, don't be afraid. And don't be awkward.
Right.
Right. If someone's trying to have a conversation with you, and you just have this like, there's no smile or anything. It's
right.
All right, well, it's good seeing you. Right? So yeah, it's simply just don't be afraid,
right?
And don't be awkward. And if you are going to have a let me be clear about this. If you are going to try and step into a conversation about a topic, make sure you know what you're talking about, because you'll end up talking to some big guys, and you're like, and they'll be talking about, oh yeah, so that SM58, man, that's a good brand, a good brand, and you'll be like, oh yeah, man, Sennheiser, they make a good thing.
Right.
No, that's Shure. Stop the noise, right? So just make sure, right. So make sure that you know what you're talking about, and if you don't fake it, because people will know.
Right.
So again, don't be afraid, don't be awkward, and if you're going to step into a conversation, make sure you know what you're talking about.
So
if not, just listen.
Right.
Anyways,
it's so much bigger than music, as you said. Like that's
Literally.
just people skills.
Yeah.
Exactly. Got you.
Exactly.
No, that's great. Okay, Steve, I think you might be the one to end us off before we play ourselves out of here. Just quickly on that question of practice, I'm actually curious to know, Steve, like, what are you practicing these days?
Well, I practice what I hear.
Okay.
Like, as a musician, I was grateful to God that He allowed me to be able to play the music that I hear, because I love music.
Yeah.
I'm a lover of music.
Right.
So I like to be able to play what I enjoy to hear. You know?
Right.
So, but as everyone was touching on, these are seasoned musicians, and they're all on the listening.
Right.
You know, so if you're gonna drive a car, you know, you can't drive without seeing.
Right.
And your ears are your eyes in music.
Right.
Get to a point where you
yes, sir.
hear everything.
Yeah.
Man, Steve.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, that's it.
Yes, sir. We got some wisdom in the room.
We can shut down
All right.
Now one to him. That is
All right. No, that's great.
Oh, yeah,
That's great. Hey, y'all, thank you so much. Thank you, each and every musician, Germaine, Adrian, Jozef, Athol, Steve. We got Cordell on sound. Thank you. We got on videography. We got Adam Favors. Thank you. Thank you for each and every one of you and all of our audience today. Today would not have been the same without you. Our band's gonna play us out. But again, one last time before they do that, I'm going to just ask you, if you haven't already, I'll drop the link one more time for you guys. Show some support, show some love, fill out that survey. It goes a long way. It takes literally 5 minutes, if that, to do, but it really helps us to be able to do stuff like this. So without any further ado, our band's going to play us out. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. And remember, we'll be back on Wednesday. So it's not over. It's not over. If you enjoyed this tonight, be in the house on Wednesday. And actually, tomorrow, we're hosting a really amazing session with a phenomenal musician. Desiree D is going to be in the house. She's going to be doing a really amazing workshop on instrumental music and production. So you do not want to miss it. If you haven't registered already, honestly, follow us on our social media. We usually put our links and all that good stuff in the chat, or rather in our bio, so you can always know where to register and all that good stuff. Anyway, this has been a real honor to host this and to be a part of this. I think enough long talk. Let's hear the band play. Good night, y'all. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night, y'all. Good night, y'all. Good night. Good night. We'll see y'all on Wednesday. Thank you for joining. Good night. Good night. Good night.